Okay, so there it is on the bench, nice and padded, and let's go ahead and move in and take a closer look. Okay people, so what do we have here exactly? Well, this is a Magnavox Model 1SC, as in Sierra Charlie, 603. Now this is a turntable unit. It's a coffee table type unit, so it's a kind of a short dog. It's not one of them taller consoles. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in here just on the turntable mechanism there. I think that's pretty good. And as I get into this a little bit more, I'll go ahead and zoom in on a little bit more detail. But this was made, I think, in about 1963. There's not a lot of information on this particular unit here. And I have the original purchase documentation, and I'm going to get into that in just a moment. And the date of purchase was 1964. This is a transistorized unit. And I'll zoom on over to the amplifier section over here in just a moment. But first, we'll just kind of take a look at the turntable mechanism here. One thing I want to mention before moving on is that the chief complaint on this unit here, if I can remember now, is I believe one of the channels cutting in and out. But I think it might have something to do with either dirty pots, a bad pot, something like that, because I think it's in and out according to what the customer stated at the time, and that's what I have written on the service tag, is just dirty pots and channel issue with a question mark. So as we know, when pots get really bad, sometimes of course we can experience a loss of signal in one or both channels, depending on how bad things are, or there could be a defective pot. We can have a bad component, whatever the case. We'll kind of check that out, but of course I'm going to function test it in just a moment, so it really doesn't matter anyways. I'll figure it out once I get a signal into it, just kind of test it out and go from there. Let me go ahead and just kind of zoom around a little bit. Okay, so let's just take a look at these levers here, and I don't know if you can see the detail that I can, but all of this discoloration on the levers here is degraded lubricant. In fact, let me reach on in here, and yeah, it's completely gone. There's no lubrication left whatsoever, and that's the same throughout this entire mechanism. It's a pretty nice looking motor though, pretty stout looking. This is going to have to be completely refurbed. This turntable mechanism here, it's going to have to be of course pulled apart, cleaned and relubricated. Yeah, everything looks pretty good. The wiring under here, from what I can see, everything looks like it's okay. I don't know about the condition of these cables, if there's anything going on as far as intermittent cables or something like that. Of course, when I evaluate what's going on with the right and left channels, I'll get into that if it goes beyond just dirty pots or whatever the case. Now let me go ahead and move on over to the amplifier chassis over there. And here we are, and everything looks pretty good in there from what I can see. So you guys will get a better look at this once I pull the chassis and of course pull the turntable and what have you. So what we will do in this video at the very least is just get a signal into this. Anyways, as far as the amplifier is concerned here, what we have here, let me kind of zoom in for you guys. and we'll get a better view when I pull this chassis in the next video. But what we have here is our driver section in here, and if I pan up, we have our output section right here. Okay, with our T03 style transistors, and we have our little power transformer here, our multi-section right here, our power transformer. We have our multi-section can, our main filters there, and you can see the back side of the pots and what have you. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because there's no point right now, considering that I'm going to have to pull the chassis and all that, and then in the next video we'll go into that. Same thing with the turntable once I start cleaning it up and relubricating everything and getting the new stylus on board and what have you. But let's go ahead and get this thing flipped over and see if this thing makes some noise and if we have both channels. Okay. Oh, and one thing I forgot to point out there, if you take a look in the cabinet, we have a total of 4 speakers, the front and rear. So this thing has sound coming out the front, it's got sound coming out the back. Lord have mercy. So anyways, let's see if we have sound. Okay, so here we are at the top side, obviously, and you can see over here, coming out of the function generator there, I have a 1 kilohertz tone feeding into the cables that plug into the bottom of the turntable. That way, of course, I can assess the cables themselves and determine whether or not there's intermittent behavior involving the cables, no continuity, whatever, if one of the cables is open or intermittent, like I said. So that's that. But let's go ahead and get this thing powered up on the dim bulb tester first. Let me go ahead and I want to shut off one of the lights. I'll point you guys at the dim bulb tester and get it nice and dark in here and see what we get. The turntable has to be running to power up the amp. When you click the switch down here, the platter starts rotating and the amp powers up and all that. So I have a 1 kilohertz tone feeding in, so we will know right off the bat once I click this current limiter on if we have sound. So let me see. So keep your eye on the center bulb there. Let me get the lights back on real quick. And you can hear the 1 kilohertz tone that I have in there. Let me go ahead and turn that frequency down to something that's a little less painful on the ears. Okay. Yeah, there's sound on both sides, but the volume pot's very scratchy and intermittent. Balance pot doesn't seem too bad. Bass pot, treble pot. Yeah, all these pots are going to need, let me turn that down. But yeah, that volume pot's pretty crappy. But anyways, so there is audio on both channels. That's good. So by the time I go in here and pull these pots out and probably end up disassembling them, give them a really thorough cleaning and relubrication. Same thing with the turntable mechanism. And you know, of course I'm going to go through the whole thing. I'll end up recapping the amp there and going through it and just checking everything over. And before I close out this video, let's go ahead and just check out the original documentation. I thought that it was really cool, actually. So let me go ahead and grab that real quick. And here we go. Here's all of our original documentation. Now, I know this might seem probably kind of extreme to some of you that I'm wearing white gloves when I handle this customer's documentation, but you have to keep in mind too that this is very very sentimental to the customer, because this has, you know, been in the family from what I understand, and the documentation is in really, really nice condition, and you know, it's just cool. But anyways, this was actually sold to my customer's family members back in 1964, so that's how I'm kind of dating this unit here, more or less. And it looks like it was purchased for $171.60 with a $21 down payment. So pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. And $171 was no small chunk of change back in 1964, no doubt. But yeah, pretty neat. Yep. Really, really cool. And here is the original owner's manual there. You can see that, and just kind of flip through it. I don't know how many are interested in this kind of stuff, but it's just kind of cool, you know, looking at this stuff from just a different time. The world was a different place, that's for sure. Yeah. Everything is in really nice shape. I don't like to put too much strain on the documents, because, you know, again, this is something that goes along with the customer's memorabilia. And here you have a nice, and I'm going to open this very carefully, warranty certificate, 5 years on solid state circuit components. Wow, pretty neat, man. Really nice. So there you go. Until part 2.